My name is Ben, and for my independent activities points, I did an educational video on an environmental issue, and that issue is human overpopulation. In these pictures, it shows some living spaces in the world that are very tightly compacted and very close with other people, and that is all due to human overpopulation. Some population statistics. The current world population is 7,097,116,087 people. One child is born every 8 seconds and one person dies every 12 seconds. Therefore, the world has a net gain of one person every 13 seconds. Between 1999 and 2013, the world population has increased by 1 billion. In the next 12 years, the world population will grow by another 1 billion. That's a lot of people in a very short period of time. In the bottom right, I have a graph showing the world population development. The green shows the developing countries, how many people are populating in developing countries, and the yellow is industrialized countries, so like the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia. Overpopulation and natural resources. Critical environments like natural rainforests that hold most of the world's species and animals are being destroyed due to human overpopulation. 100 acres of tropical rainforests are also being destroyed every minute. This not only affects wildlife, but also photosynthesis and the natural cleanup of air pollution. Humans are also taken to the seas. 70% of the world's fisheries are either fully exploited, overexploited, or significantly depleted. At the current rate of human consumption and depletion, by 2050, we will need 3 Earths to keep up with human consumption. In the picture in the top right, it shows a huge roll of fish that had just been brought out of the ocean. So this is an example of overfishing. And then the bottom right is a picture of a natural rainforest that has been severely depleted by humans that were probably building buildings or roads or something of that sort. Pollution due to overpopulation. Between 1990 and 2009, carbon dioxide emissions have increased by 38%. Carbon dioxide emissions have increased because of the creation and use of more cars, more planes, more overall transportation, and the need for more coal. Of course, coal turns into oil, which all of those modes of transportation use. On top of more transportation, the degradation of natural resources has taken away trees, bushes, and shrubs that help naturally rid the air of pollution. More carbon dioxide equals less ozone. Carbon dioxide depletes ozone in the atmosphere, letting harmful ultraviolet rays enter our atmosphere, hurting humans and increasing photochemical smog. That photochemical smog really hurts humans because of asthma and respiratory disease and such like that. Water and food supply. At this rate of consumption, by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population will face water scarcity or stress. Overpopulation also leads to certain parts of the world consuming more water than others. For example, the United States uses more water than Kenya because it is easier to access and more pure and clean. For example, the developed countries have water purifiers that make it healthier for humans to consume, and running water is a big aspect of that as well. By 2030, 50% of the world's population will need more food, 45% will need more energy, and 30% of the world will need more water. If these threats of overpopulation aren't solved, 3 billion people will be living in poverty. That is almost half of the current world's population. So in this picture on the top shows starving children, and on the bottom it shows a pond/lake that once filled that dry area and now it is just terrestrial land. National and international effects of overpopulation. By 2025, 2/3 of the world's population will live in urban environments, so cities, towns, etc. This means that virus and disease will spread more rapid, increasing the sickness rate and making living conditions cramped and complicated. More urban environments also means more poverty because of less job opportunities and increased prices for housing and the overall necessities of living, like doctor appointments, transportation, cars, such like that. Less land and increased competition for natural resources will lead to international conflict and war over boundaries. So the picture on the top shows an army or a soldier really protecting his country's or his land's natural resources, such as oil. And then the bottom shows a very crowded subway and it shows how close humans are with one another that could really spread illness. Causes of overpopulation. Better medical facilities. Science is able to produce food which is able to feed more and more people compared to growing crops. More medicines are being made to fight diseases that normally would wipe out large numbers of people. Combining the increase in food supply and decrease in death rate due to medicine, life becomes somewhat easier to live. Longer lives are more attainable. Immigration. Many people like to move to developed countries like the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia, where people can get the best medical care, education, and occupation. This movement causes a shortage of resources and simply overcrowdedness. So think about in Kenya, there's no regulation for public schools, so all of those people would like to come to the US for things like that. Other causes: helping hand to the impoverished, technological advancement in fertility treatment, and decline in death rate. Helping a hand to the impoverished would mean, like, if you're poor in the United States, there's a lot of organizations that would help you out. So this is a graph of the world population. So it's showing the world population growth. It's kind of like the graph I had before. The lighter yellow is developing regions, and the darker orange is industrialized regions. So it's kind of showing since the 1750s how it was not even a billion to now, when it's till 2050 when we could reach higher than 9-10 billion people in the developing regions. And the industrialized is kind of just at a steady rate of climb. So some solutions for overpopulation. Education. People would have to understand the need to have 1 or 2 children at the most. Birth control would have to be used more and implemented more in the average human schedule. Abortion and sterilization would also have to be discussed internationally, even though in our country it is looked at as unright or somewhat hurtful to people. Tax benefits. An idea would be to reduce or better the taxes for certain families that have 1 to 2 children and aren't significantly adding to the problem of overpopulation. People think this would work because with overpopulation there would be a lot of people that need more money, and this would just be another way for them to save money. Sex education. Starting at a young age, elders and parents should start to have conversations with their children to make sure that right precautions are being taken to help keep sexually active teens be safe and prevent pregnancy. Solid sexual education should be given. This should happen because a lot of people are being put on this earth due to young people who aren't ready, who aren't sexually smart enough to not put children on here for the wrong reasons. So I have just a couple overpopulation images to show here. These ones are dedicated to transportation. So think about in our country, the United States, we get in 1 car for 1 person and drive to wherever we're going. I mean, look at this train on the left and all the people waiting in the line, and then the 1 bus on the right, and I don't even know how those people got on there. But it's just incredible to look at those 2 train pictures and imagine in countries like where we live, how 1 person just drives each car. So these are some more overpopulation images. A lot of, when I was doing research, a lot of the overpopulation is directly correlated with India. So the 2 pictures on the right are from India, and the ones on the left, the one on the bottom left is also from India, and the top seems to be, I don't know where, but very interesting, very overpopulated, and a lot of people. So this is a bibliography of the things that I put on my slide, and here's a short video for the rest of the duration of my presentation. Thank you for watching.
A 1,000 years ago, there were only 1/3 of a billion people, but we were multiplying. Now there's 7 billion of us. How did we grow so much, so fast? Say this glass is North America. The fuller the glass gets, the more people there are. Water drips in as people are born. Water drips out as people die. Okay, here's the entire world. Now let's go back 1,000 years. The Americas are nearly empty. Europe and Africa have less than 100 million people between them. And just like today, most people live in China, India, and the rest of Asia. For centuries,